I grew up in a house where emotions were treated like clutter. You didn't talk about feelings. You performed stability. My father believed in two kinds of people, strong and weak. My mother believed in one kind, normal. And I learned early that normal meant don't stand out. Don't ask questions. Don't cry. Don't act weird. Don't be soft. Don't be different. I was a quiet kid. Not shy, just observant. I watched everything. I watched how my father's jaw tightened when a man on TV sounded too feminine. I watched my mother laugh at people who wore anything unusual. I watched family friends casually destroy strangers with words like it was entertainment. So I became a professional at disappearing. But the first time I ever felt the pull toward femininity wasn't sexual. It wasn't even rebellious. It was innocent. I was 8 when I walked into my cousin's room during a family gathering. She was older. Her room smelled like shampoo and perfume and something warm, like sunlight and fabric. On her bed lay a skirt. I touched it. The texture made my brain go still, like someone pressed pause on the noise in my head. I didn't even put it on. I just held it for a second. And then I heard footsteps and dropped it like it was a crime. That was my first lesson. Something makes you feel too good, it's probably forbidden. Years later, when puberty hit and the world started labeling everything, the shame attached itself to me like a shadow. I didn't have words like gender expression. I didn't have language like self-discovery. I only had fear. So I buried it. Or at least I tried. By the time I was in my late teens, I had become what everyone wanted. A boy who looked fine. A boy who acted fine. A boy who laughed at the right jokes. But inside I was split into two people. Person 1, the version of me who existed publicly. Person 2, the version of me who existed in whispers. Person 2 only came out late at night when the house was asleep. Not often. Not carelessly. Like a thief visiting his own heart. It started with small things. A towel wrapped like hair. A little bit of moisturizer. A lingering look at women's clothing sections online, quickly closed like a tab full of guilt. I kept telling myself, it's nothing. Then, it's just curiosity. Then I'll stop when I'm older. But that's what secrets do. They don't shrink just because you ignore them. They learn your schedule. They find cracks. They wait. College gave me space, but it also gave me a new fear. Being seen. I had roommates. Friends. Social circles. I became even more careful. And yet, one night during my second year, something happened that I still remember too clearly. My roommate went out for the weekend. I was alone. And for the first time I ordered something online. A basic outfit. A dress. Pantyhose. A cheap wig. When the package arrived, I felt like I was carrying explosives. I locked the door. Closed the curtains. Put on music to cover any sound. Then I put it on. And I expected, I don't know, a thrill. A rush? That I felt grief. Because the person in the mirror looked like me, but also looked like someone I had been refusing to meet. I stared and whispered, who are you? And then, like someone hearing a door open, I ripped everything off, stuffed it into the box and hid it under my bed. I sat on the floor breathing hard and promised myself, never again. 2 days later I opened the box again. That's the part no one talks about. How shame and longing can live in the same body holding hands. I thought hiding was protecting me. But hiding isn't protection. Hiding is slow erosion. I started having anxiety episodes. Not, I'm nervous anxiety. I mean the kind where your chest locks and you're sure you're about to die but you're not. Your body just wants to scream something your mouth won't say. I got good grades. I smiled in pictures. I made jokes that I looked like someone who was doing okay. But at night I would lie in bed with my heart racing thinking, what if someone finds out? What if I'm broken? What if this means I'm not a real man? What if I lose everyone? And the worst thought, what if I never get to live as myself? I dated too. But dating felt like acting. Like wearing clothes that didn't fit. Sometimes I'd be on a date and she would touch my hand and I'd feel nothing. Not because she wasn't beautiful, not because she wasn't kind, but because I was so far away from myself that even affection couldn't reach me. I didn't know how to explain that I wasn't cold. I was just divided. Then, at 24, I had a breakdown in the most embarrassing place possible. A grocery store. I was standing in an aisle staring at cereal and my vision blurred. My hands went numb. My throat tightened. A stranger asked if I was okay. And all I could say was, yeah, I'm fine, while my body screamed the truth. No, you're not. You're just used to surviving. That night I searched. Why do I feel like I'm living someone else's life? Why am I ashamed of myself? Crossdressing anxiety shame help. And that's how I found therapy. Her office was calm in a way my life wasn't. Neutral colors. Soft lighting. No judgment in the air. She asked me simple questions at first. How are you sleeping? How is your appetite? When did the anxiety begin? And then one day she asked, what do you hide from people? I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was terrifying. I tried to dodge it. I said, nothing important. She waited. Silence can be violent when you're carrying secrets. Finally I said, there's something I've never told anyone. My throat burned. I looked at the carpet like it could protect me. Sometimes I wear women's clothes. She didn't flinch. No surprise. No disgust. No dramatic pause. Just a gentle nod. And how does it make you feel? She asked. I swallowed. Like myself, I whispered. And then immediately, like I should be ashamed for even saying that. She leaned forward slightly. Do you believe you're doing something wrong? I said, I don't know. She said, let's not start with labels. Let's start with truth. When you crossdress, do you hurt anyone? No. Do you force anyone? No. Do you feel relief? Yes. Then what you're fighting is not danger, she said. It's conditioning. I stared at her. She continued, you've been taught that masculinity is a prison you must not escape. And you're terrified that freedom will cost you love. I felt my eyes sting. Then she said the sentence that cracked my life open. Stop trying to be acceptable. Start trying to be honest. Embrace your true self. I shook my head fast. I can't, I said. You don't understand. He smiled, not in a cute way. In a knowing way. I understand enough, she said. You're already paying the price. You're just paying it privately. That line hit harder than anything. Because she was right. I was paying the price in panic attacks, numbness, loneliness, fake laughter. I was losing myself every day quietly. Therapy didn't turn me into someone else. It gave me permission to stop pretending. But permission didn't magically erase fear. So my therapist gave me a challenge. Don't go public. Don't do anything extreme. Just practice honesty in a safe space. Safe space. For me, that meant my own apartment. So I decided to do it differently. Not like a secret crime, like a normal human choice. I cleaned my room. I placed them in a drawer. I bought a mirror that didn't distort. I bought a simple lipstick. Nothing loud. I learned how to apply it with patience. And the first time I looked at myself after doing it slowly, intentionally, I didn't feel like a liar. I felt like someone healing. I gave her a name in my head. Not because I was becoming a different person, but because I needed to stop treating that side of me like a shameful shadow. That version of me wasn't evil. She wasn't a mistake. She was me too. The next session I told my therapist, I did it. I didn't panic. She smiled. What did you learn? I paused. That I'm not broken, I said. I'm just scared. She nodded. Exactly. Then she asked, what do you want? And that question, simple, direct, made my chest ache. Because I realized, I had never asked myself that without fear answering first. I want to exist without hiding, I said. The next step wasn't a parade. It was a conversation. My best friend Amir. He was the kind of guy who would roast you for anything, but also drive across the city at 3 a.m. if you were in trouble. I invited him over and my hands wouldn't stop sweating. We sat on the couch. He joked about my serious face. Bro, what's going on? You look like you're about to confess a murder. I laughed weakly. Not murder. Then my throat closed. He waited. I took a breath. I crossdress, I said. He blinked. That's it, he said. I stared. What do you mean that's it? He shrugged. I thought you were dying or something. Are you okay? I felt my eyes burn. I thought you'd, I don't know, laugh. He leaned back. I mean, I might ask questions, but why would I laugh? You're my friend. I sat there, stunned, like I had been carrying a heavy bag for years and someone just took it from my hands. He asked, does it make you happy? I said, it makes me feel like I can breathe. He nodded slowly. Then breathe. That night I realized something important. Not everyone is your enemy. But the fear in your head will try to convince you they are, because fear wants control. I didn't go outside dressed up the next day. I'm not going to lie and act like I became fearless overnight. It took weeks. I practiced walking in heels at home, then decided heels were not my mission. I practiced makeup, then decided simple was better. I practiced being gentle with myself. Then one evening I stood at my door dressed in that same simple black dress. No wig this time. Just neatly styled hair. Minimal makeup. A jacket over it. My heart was hammering. My brain screamed, people will stare. People will know. People will attack. And then I remembered my therapist's voice. Start trying to be honest. So I opened the door. The hallway looked the same. The air didn't explode, the world didn't end. I walked to my car like every step was a negotiation with fear. I drove to a quiet cafe on the other side of town. Somewhere nobody knew me. Somewhere I could just exist. I sat down, hands trembling, pretending to look at the menu. The waiter came. Hi, what can I get you? He asked casually. Casually. Like I was a normal customer. Like I was not carrying 15 years of shame. I ordered tea. When he walked away, I exhaled so hard my chest hurt. And in that moment I understood something so simple it almost made me laugh. I wasn't craving attention. I was craving peace. Not every experience was gentle. Some people stared. Some people smirked. Once a guy muttered something under his breath that made my stomach twist. I went back to my car and cried. Not because I regretted it, but because I realized how cruel the world can be to someone who is simply honest. The next therapy session I told her, I don't know if I can handle this. She nodded, serious. Then let's separate two things, she said. 1, your identity. 2, other people's immaturity. I wiped my face. She continued. Your job isn't to convince the world you deserve respect. Your job is to stop treating yourself like you don't. That hit deep. Because the truth was, even when no one was judging me, I was judging myself. I was my first bully. And I was tired. Embracing my true self didn't mean I dressed feminine every day. It meant I stopped making rules based on fear. It meant I stopped calling myself names. It meant I let myself enjoy things without punishment. Sometimes I dress masculine. Sometimes I dress feminine. Sometimes I mix. Sometimes I don't. But the biggest change wasn't my clothes. It was my posture. Not physical posture, inner posture. I stopped shrinking. I started speaking honestly even in small ways. No, I don't like that joke. Yes, I'm sensitive. No, I'm not okay. Yes, I deserve space. And gradually the anxiety started losing its grip. Because anxiety feeds on hidden truths. When you bring truth into the light, fear has less room to grow. I won't pretend it's easy. Some days I still hear the old voices in my head. My father's judgments. Society's cruelty. My own shame. But now I have a new voice too. My therapist's voice. My best friend's voice. My own voice. And it says, you're not a mistake. You're a human being. A few months ago I stood in front of my mirror again. Not shaking. Not panicking. Just standing. I wore a soft sweater dress this time. Simple earrings. Light makeup. I looked at myself and I didn't ask, who are you? I said quietly, hi. And it felt like coming home. Because the truth is, I didn't crossdress to escape being a man. I crossdressed because I was tired of escaping myself. And I finally understood what my therapist meant. Embracing your true self isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily refusal to lie about who you are. So if you're listening to my story and your heart is racing because it feels familiar, if you've been hiding something harmless just because the world taught you to hate it, let me tell you what I wish someone told me years ago. You don't have to earn the right to exist. You just have to stop abandoning yourself. And maybe, just maybe, the moment you embrace your true self, you won't feel loud. You'll feel quiet. The kind of quiet that finally sounds like peace.